are hybrids examples of evolution. James Owen, in a National Geographic news story, explains how a growing number of hybrid species have been observed in the wild. And such hybrid species are the offspring of two distinct animal species, such as a lion and a tiger producing a liger, or zebras and donkeys making zonkies, and whales and dolphins producing wolphins. Noting that the process is common in plants, Owen explains, this evolutionary process has long been considered extremely rare among animals. But what he considers an evolutionary process is actually an important testament to the original created kinds. You see, the Bible indicates that God created the original animals after their kind, and accordingly reproduce within these respective kinds from Genesis 7, 2-3, where respective kinds have a male and a female. For example, dogs would give birth to dogs, and elephants give birth to elephants, and so forth. In fact, there's an entire subdivision of creation science called baraminology that's devoted to categorizing the created kinds. So the first thing that needs to be addressed is, well, what's a kind? And often people are confused into thinking that a species is a kind. But this isn't necessarily so. A species is a man-made term used in the modern classification system. And frankly, the word species is difficult to define, whether one is a creationist or not. Instead, the Bible uses the Hebrew word min, which is where we get our term kind. The Bible's first use of this word is found in Genesis 1, when God creates plants and animals according to their kinds. It's used again in Genesis 6 and 8, where God instructed Noah to take 2 of every kind of animal onto the ark, and also in God's command for the animals to reproduce after the flood. Now, a plain reading of the text infers that plants and animals were created to reproduce within the boundaries of their kind. Evidence to support this concept is clearly seen, or rather not seen, in our world today, as there are no reports of dats like dogs or cats, or, cows, horses and cows. So a good rule of thumb is that if 2 things can breed together, then they are of the same created kind. Of course, it's a little bit more complicated than this, but for the time being, this gives us a quick idea of a kind. Now, as an example, dogs can easily breed with one another, whether they're wolves or dingoes or coyotes or domestic dogs. And when dogs breed together, you get dogs, so there's a dog kind. It works the same with chickens. There are several breeds of chickens, but chickens breed with each other and you can still get chickens, so there's a chicken kind. The concept's fairly easy to understand if you think it through. But in today's culture, where evolution and millions of years are taught as fact, many have been led to believe that animals and plants that are classed as a specific species have been like this for tens of thousands of years and perhaps millions of years. Of course, from a biblical perspective, though, land animals like wolves, zebras, sheep, lions, and so on have at least 2 ancestors that lived on Noah's Ark, only about 4,300 years ago. And these animals have undergone many changes since that time. But dogs are still part of the dog kind, cats are still part of the cat kind, and so on. God placed variety within the original kinds, and other variation has occurred since the fall due to genetic alterations. Over the millennia since the curse, information in the genomes of animals have steadily decreased via natural selection, causing speciation. Such in that many cases, it's actually said that several separate species exist within what would be considered one biblical kind. For example, from the deer kind, we have over 24 deer species. And these inflated numbers are frequently used by Bible critics who claim Noah couldn't have fit millions of species on the ark, and thus the Bible can't be trusted or read literally. So, are hybrids examples of evolution? No, they are rather evidence for biblical creation. Reading about such interbreeding species is a reminder that the original kinds incorporated many of today's species. Noah's Ark would have had sufficient room for representatives of each kind, and those representatives contained the genetic information leading to the species that we see today.